Hello all, welcome back. Let's start with the last part of this chapter 1, and this is the fourth and the last video for chapter 1. And the one more tribe that we have to complete over here is related to Aryans. It is said that Nordic Aryans were the creators of Aryan civilization in India. Now, what do you mean by civilization? It means the process by which a society reaches an advanced stage of development. I repeat, civilization means a process by which a society reaches an advanced stage of development. Hindus were called Aryans in ancient time, and the area where they were densely populated means where they lived in large number. That area was called Aryavrat. As seven rivers were flowing over there, that region was also called as Saptasindhu. In ancient time, the first Aryan population was concentrated in northwest. Concentrated means they lived in large number in northwest. The area of Aryavrat was extended up till Mithila, Bihar in the east. In south, it spread up to Vindhyachal during post-Vedic period. The Aryans were more developed people than any other contemporary tribes. Contemporary tribe means that time tribe. So among all the tribes that we have learnt up till now, Aryans were more developed than the other tribes. And this vast land was known or recognized with various names as Bharat Bhumi, Bharat Khan, Bharatvarsh, etc. after the name of the king, Arya Bharat or Bharat tribe. So here your objectives will be the words Saptasindhu, Aryavrat, and after the name of the king dash or Bharat tribe. So continue with the same tribe on the next slide. That's Aryans were nature lovers. They loved and worshipped the trees, rivers, mountain, the sun, the wind and the rain. They had also composed hymns, that's richas. You can also term it in easy word, that is mantras, for praying to various natural elements. Now as the time moved ahead, that is in due course of time, some religious ceremonies like reciting the Ved, that is recitation of Ved, performing Yagya Yagyadi. Now Yagya is a Sanskrit word which means a simple way, if you can understand, is Havan that we perform. So performing Yagya, Yagyadi and other activities became prevalent in India. That is, it existed in India. There was a fine amalgamation. Amalgamation means mixture of all these tribes with their specific style, that is particular style of living, and a peaceful culture was formed, that is harmonious culture was formed, which gave India a glorious and prosperous heritage. So Indian culture became rich, prosperous, that is because of the mixture or amalgamation of all those tribes who came and lived in India, became Indians, and their culture was added up to Indian culture. These foreigners and Indian tribes amalgamated, that is mixed up in such a way over a long period of time that they lost their individual identity. Individual identity means these tribes actually forgot that from where they came or who they were and or what they were, and they became Indians through intercaste marriages. Outsiders and local people were greatly attracted or influenced by languages, script, names and religious beliefs, which played a great role in Indianizing these foreigners. Indianizing these foreigners means how these foreigners became Indians, what attracted them. That is, they were attracted by Indian languages, script, names, etc. Since ancient times, a composite culture has been created in India. Composite culture means you can say a culture made up of many elements. Composite culture, once again in simple way you can say a culture which includes many cultures of different tribes. So since ancient time a composite culture has been created in our country. Now they all then became Indians. In short, in ancient India, the amalgamation of these various cultures made Indian culture rich by making it variegated and prosperous. Move on to the next part, and there is the last section of this chapter, and that's preservation and conservation of heritage. Now, it's very important duty of the Indian citizen that we have to preserve and conserve our precious Indian heritage. Now, each part or aspect of Indian heritage made India eye-catching, picturesque. Picturesque you can say as charming in appearance and attractive. Heritage brought glory to our country. I don't think so that if this heritage would not have been preserved over the centuries, then India would have been this famous as it is today on the world map. We have preserved this heritage in ancient time till today, and today's government also is putting in lots of effort to preserve our Indian heritage. So India achieved a leading position in the world by keeping its rich heritage protected and preserved. Thus, it is the primary, that is, it is our first duty and pious, that is our holy duty of every citizen of India to see that nobody harms our ancient memorials. Memorials, example, you can take Taj Mahal, Sidi Saidni Jali, Red Fort, Qutub Minar, etc. So it is our duty to see that nobody harms it, and it's also our duty to preserve the places having historical importance and values. The places of historical importance like Jallianwala Bagh, etc. In our constitution, the fundamental duties of Indian citizens are mentioned in Article 51A. Now in Article 51A, there are 3 points, learn it, that is 6, 7 and 9, that describes the following duties, telling us to preserve our cultural, that is man-made heritage. But here is very important to note that we have not only preserve our cultural heritage, it's our duty to preserve even our natural heritage. Now on the next slide is given our points 6, 7 and 9. So let's go ahead. To understand the importance of our harmonious culture, prosperity, and to preserve it. The meaning of this point number 6 is that it's very important that we should understand that what is our culture, we should know about its richness, and we should also understand the importance about how to preserve our heritage. We should know, all the Indian citizens should know that we have to preserve our heritage. Now the next point tells us about to maintain the natural heritage, that is the forest, tanks, rivers, ponds, wildlife, birds, along with taking care of or maintaining our natural environment, and to show compassion for all the living creatures. Compassion means sympathy towards all the living creatures. And the third point, that is a duty over here, tells us about the protection of public property. Public property, that is, you can say Kankaria Lake, Vastrapur Lake, or the roads and the street lights and government property, in short you can say. So the protection of public property and giving up violence are also included as our fundamental duty. So it's very important that we should protect our natural heritage, cultural heritage and public property and be away from violence. Thus nature has created beautiful landscape, as we have already seen earlier in this chapter, that is rivers, vegetation, Himalayas, etc. So this is all what is given to us by nature, which we have to preserve. Next, we should maintain the purity and sanctity, that is, you can call it as sanctity, in short you can say holy. So it's very important that we should maintain the purity, sanctity and beauty of all these places, and this is said to be or considered to be a moral duty. The Indian heritage is an outcome of the development of people of India over a long period of time. That is, it's not only that today's people have done lots of hard work and they have developed our country, but this Indian heritage is outcome, means the result of the development of all those people of our country since ancient time. Nature has greatly or generously donated huge amount, that is abundant prosperity, to India. India achieved invaluable opportunities in all the fields to develop gradually due to India's special natural structure. Now, what is this India's peculiar natural structure? That is, when you see on the world map, where does India stands? You can see it is covered on the three sides. In the south by water, so that is a peculiar natural structure. In the north we have great Himalayas. So many other things you will learn as we move ahead in the next chapters, that all this natural structure of India, which is very special, very peculiar, has helped India to develop, and in this way Indian heritage is a result of the development of the people of India in social, economic, political and cultural field over a period of thousands of years. So thank you very much, and this is our fourth and the last part of chapter 1. So see you soon with a new topic. Thank you so much.